UFC Fight Night Vegas 46 Kattar vs Chikadze takes place in only a matter of hours, and I'm going to go through my last minute detailed prediction and breakdown for every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. I'm not just saying who I believe is going to win, I did that earlier this week. I'm trying to call how every single fight is going to go, start to finish, how every single round is going to play out, what limb will be used for a KO victory, what submission will be achieved if there is going to be a submission. I'm trying to call every single fight exactly how it's going to go, starting with the early prelim opener of TJ Brown versus Charles Rosa. This got added to the card recently, of course, Charles Rosa stepping in on short notice. I can see TJ Brown winning this one 29-28 by unanimous decision. I think Charles Rosa might win the first round and maybe end up in some good positions on the ground. Both guys are going to be a little bit sloppy on the feet. I don't see anyone really taking over in the stand-up department, but maybe TJ Brown, as the fight goes on, will have some success on the feet. But I feel like Charles Rosa is going to end up in a good position in the first round. They're going to have a bunch of crazy scrambles. Maybe Rosa tries to get the back at one point, slides off the top, that kind of situation where they're falling all over the place in the grappling. TJ Brown's going to keep scrambling. Trains with Bryce Mitchell, who's a great training partner when you're going up against Charles Rosa, in my opinion. So I think he's going to be used to be dealing with a lot of submission attempts on him, so I think he's going to escape a lot of them. Charles Rosa might have a guillotine that he's cranking on for a good 30 seconds that isn't quite in there, and then TJ Brown will escape, land some good shots, some big shots to the body on the ground and some shots to the head. Rosa might win the first round based on control, but in the second and third round, I feel like Charles Rosa is going to start to slow down. He took this fight on short notice after Christmas and New Year's, which is never a good sign, and I feel like TJ Brown is going to strike, land some good shots, start chopping at the legs, start stuffing a couple of the takedowns, but then after stuffing the takedowns, I think he's going to get the back position, start ending up on top after Charles Rosa's failed takedowns, getting in half guard, laying in that position, landing some total strikes to a decision win. 29-28 TJ Brown based on the last two rounds. Moving on up the card, Brian Kelleher versus Kevin Croom. I'm going to go with Brian Kelleher by first round guillotine is what I'm going to go with here. I think he gets this one done against Kevin Croom. I think Croom's going to be doing okay early, landing a couple of straight shots. Kelleher's going to have to find his range. He's going to play a lot of that little dipping game, looking like a little bit of a Ross Pearson out there against Dan Hooker, I feel like, but maybe he doesn't get kneed in the face this time. I think Brian Kelleher's going to go out there, dip under the shots of Kevin Croom, land some big shots over the top. Croom's going to shoot a couple of takedowns, get down Kelleher for a split second, but I believe Kelleher will have the ability to work himself back up against a cage. Maybe Croom tries to put a hook in against a cage. Kelleher separates, gets underhooks, circles out, gets double unders, pushes Croom against a cage, knees him to the thigh a couple of times, separates and lands some big shots to the body and upstairs. Then they're at range again. Kevin Croom still looking for straight shots and some kicks. Shoots another takedown, gets it, Kelleher right back up to his feet, knees to the body, some body shots on the way out from Brian Kelleher in the clinch. They're back at range again. Croom's throwing some shots. Kelleher finds his range, dips underneath some of those shots, lands a big hook over the top, rocks Kevin Croom quite badly. Kevin Croom shoots again out of panic. Kelleher puts him in the signature Kelleher guillotine, and I think he gets it done by first round submission with a guillotine choke. Moving on up the card, McGee versus Ramiz Brahimaj. Now, I'm going to go with Ramiz Brahimaj via second round rear naked choke over McGee. This is a risky pick because McGee is always a good underdog, but I am going to go with Ramiz Brahimaj here, and I think he'll get it done by second round rear naked choke, because in the first round, I think he's going to be throwing a bunch of kicks, throwing a bunch of body shots, out-hustling McGee in certain situations, winning the fight at distance. McGee's going to be trying to pressure. I think Ramiz will blast a double leg out of nowhere, get McGee to the ground. McGee might work his way back up, but I think Ramiz is going to put a hook in against the cage, land some knees to the thigh, land some knees to the body, land some good shots against the cage, and just keep McGee there for the majority of the round, trying to take him down again, gets him down again, maybe gets the back in the first round, but McGee defends from the back position, and Ramiz Brahimaj is punching the behind the ear area of McGee as he goes on in that round because he can't quite find the rear naked choke, and then McGee's going to get up, in the second round. They're going to start again. Ramiz is still going to be landing some really good shots. They're going to be throwing at each other. McGee's going to be trying to close the distance. And I think Ramiz is going to engage in the clinch with him whenever he does that. Start landing some good knees to the body. McGee's trying to work back. When McGee tries to work back with a knee of his own, I think Ramiz is going to time him and shoot another takedown. Get down McGee on the ground. Get the back position as McGee tries to get back up. Flatten him out. Land some big shots behind the ear on the ground. Defend yourself, Court. Defend yourself. He starts rearing his head up to just try and get out of the situation. Ramiz slides in the rear naked choke. Another rear naked choke finish for Ramiz Brahimaj in the second round this time, in my opinion. Moving on up the card. Jamie Pickett versus Joseph Holmes. I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Joseph Holmes. Second round KO. I think he's going to kick the shit out of Jamie Pickett in the first round. Chop at the legs, go to the body with some good kicks as well. Land some good shots on the feet to maybe wobble Jamie Pickett here and there. Pickett's going to land some good shots. He's maybe going to get a takedown. Joseph Holmes going to work his way back up against the cage, get the underhooks, escape the position. But Pickett will have moments where he's holding Joseph Holmes against the cage, kneeing the thigh a couple of times, getting a couple of takedowns here and there. But Holmes is going to rock him in that round, land some good body shots, land some good knees to the body in the clinch as well, land some really good leg kicks, start breaking down Jamie Pickett's frame, and then Jamie Pickett's going to go back to his corner at the end of round one, and his corner's going to tell him, you need to lead the dance. You're letting him lead the dance. Smother him. Get on this guy. Don't let him breathe. Don't let him have range. He's picking you apart at range. You have to close the distance. Get hustling. Go out there and work. Force this fight on him. Don't sit back. If I see you at range, you're losing. Jamie Pickett's going to go out there in the second round, rush forward to try and close the distance. He's going to do this a couple of times. Eventually, Joseph Holmes is going to catch him, being desperate to turn the fight back in his favour, and Joseph Holmes puts him out at the start of the second round with like a counter right hand, clean on the chin. Down goes Jamie Pickett. Moving on, up the card to the main card. Algeo versus Joanderson Brito. I'm going to go with Joanderson Brito here, and I'm going to pick him by decision. And I might pick him by, like, split decision. This, in my opinion, is going to be the closest fight on the card. I'm going to go with Algeo. Goes out there. Stays calm. Lands some decent shots on Joanderson Brito. But I think Joanderson Brito is going to have too much control time for Algeo to be winning those rounds. Landing good shots of ground and pound. Takes the back at one point as well, maybe against a cage. Lands some good shots there. Goes for a rear naked choke attempt or two. Goes for another submission on the ground maybe and just starts landing some big shots in general on the ground. Then Algeo is going to be on the feet again. Landing some good shots on the feet. Joanderson Brito also is going to be landing some decent shots on the feet too. Both guys going back and forth. But I think the difference maker in each and every round is going to be Joanderson Brito taking back position, trying to get a submission towards the end of the round. Maybe Algeo is going to be up on significant strikes, but I think the round is going to end in a similar fashion to like how you would score a Khabib versus Gaethje. I know some judges gave it to Gaethje, which is why I'm expecting a split decision here, but Khabib really should have won those rounds because he had those submission attempts, at least at the end of the first with that armbar. So I'm going to go with Joanderson Brito, mixing in takedowns and winning the ends of these rounds that could be very close on the feet in the first place, based on those takedowns and based on some submission attempts, a couple of ground and pound shots at the end of the round. I just think Joanderson Brito's more explosive, he's younger, he's more tenacious, he's going to make sure to put a stamp on the end of some of these rounds that some judges may see as him winning those rounds, and I believe two of them will. So I'm going to go with Joanderson Brito, 30-27 on one scorecard, 29-28 on another, and then another 29-28 to Algeo. Split decision, Joanderson Brito. Moving on up the card, Dakota Bush versus Viacheslav Borshchev. I'm going to go with Slavaclaus. Slavaclaus, a great nickname, and I'm going to go with him by third round TKO in a comeback performance. You know what I'm seeing here, guys? I'm seeing like a lightweight version of Andrew Sanchez versus Bruno Silva. That's what I'm seeing right now. Is it Bruno Silva? I believe it is. You know who I'm talking about anyway. Bruno Silva, Bruno Souza, one of the two names. The guy who's fighting Alex Pereira next. I see a very similar situation to that. I see Viacheslav Borshchev landing some good shots on the feet, some good leg kicks, some good body shots as well. Dakota Bush maybe landing a couple of decent shots back, a couple of stiff jabs. He's got a reach advantage. A couple of straight right hands maybe as well, but Borshchev's going to take him well, land some good shots of his own. Dakota Bush is going to start grappling him. I think Dakota Bush will be able to out-grapple Viacheslav Viacheslav Borshchev, and I think it's going to go badly for Borshchev in the first 2 rounds. I think Dakota push will get him down to the ground, hold him against the cage, take him down again, put 1 hook in. Borshchev surviving on the ground, taking some shots here and there towards the end of the rounds with the last 2 minutes, and I think Dakota Bush is going to win the first 2 rounds by, in certain moments, out-grappling Viacheslav Borshchev on the ground. But Borshchev's going to land body shots and leg kicks and shots upstairs as well, and he's going to be the one doing the damage, but Dakota Bush will out-grapple him quite convincingly, land some shots on the ground of total strikes, and just dominate like 3 minutes of those 5-minute rounds in the first 2 rounds, enough to win him those rounds. Then Borshchev in the third is going to start to notice that Dakota Bush is starting to get worse with his takedowns. He's going to start landing some good knees to the body. Dakota Bush is going to start not really wanting to take down too much. Borshchev's going to start chopping at his legs on the feet, dropping him to the ground. When he gets back up, he lands a couple more big shots, rocks Dakota Bush. Dakota Bush is rocked. He's panic shooting now. He's getting hit with knees to the body because Borshchev is timing the takedowns, finding the underhooks, landing those good knees to the body. He's going to start landing some good knees to the head, a couple of hooks on the way back up as well for Dakota Bush, and I think Viacheslav Borshchev's going to eventually push Dakota Bush against the cage, land some knees to his body, land some good body shots and some combos upstairs, and just rain down shots on Dakota Bush in the third round to get himself a 3rd round TKO, mainly to do with body shots against the cage in a comeback victory where he loses the first 2 rounds, and maybe doesn't show the best of grappling. Moving on up the card, Katlyn Chookagian versus Jennifer Maia. I'm going to go with Katlyn Chookagian 30-27. I think she's just going to simply outstrike Jennifer Maia for the majority of this fight. I don't see Jennifer Maia being able to get her to the ground, and if she does, I can see Chookagian working her way up or just staying in a safe position, and Jennifer Maia like not really doing anything with the ground control. So I'm going to go with Katlyn Chookagian just being far superior on the feet. Far superior on the feet. I think she's going to land big shots all night long, tune up the face of Jennifer Maia, who's going to have a swollen eye and a cut over one eyebrow and a busted nose, and one of her lips is starting to swell up. And I think Katlyn Chookagian's just going to tune her up for 3 straight rounds. Maybe gets taken down here and there, but she's going to be landing a front kick, a jab 2, a bunch of different combinations on Jennifer Maia. Maia might land some big shots here and there. One thing I do know is you might want to mute your fucking TV because Chookagian just fucking non-stop screams like a weirdo during her fight. So maybe she'll rupture the eardrums of Jennifer Maia as well. There could be a chance at that. But I'm going to go with just Katlyn Chookagian, tuning her up at range, doing okay whenever she does get taken down, or not getting taken down at all, and just winning every round by out-voluming Jennifer Maia on the feet and out-damaging her as well. Katlyn Chookagian gets it done, 30-27. Moving on to the feature fight. Brandon Royval versus Rogerio Bontorin. I'm going to go with Rogerio Bontorin. I think he's going to be losing to Brandon Royval, but I'm going to call a first round rear naked choke finish for Rogerio Bontorin. I think Royval's going to be doing a bunch of good stuff, landing good shots on the feet. Bontorin's going to land a couple of good shots back. Bontorin might get him down in the early part of the round, but Royval's going to work his way back up after maybe threatening a couple of submission attempts off of his back. He rolls over, works his way back up to his feet. Bontorin's on him against the cage, kneeing at his thigh, trying to get himself a bit of breathing space because Royval's going to be pressuring him like crazy on the feet. Royval's looking for big knees on Bontorin to duck into. Maybe he lands a couple of good ones, but Bontorin takes them well, throws back, lands some good shots on Royval. Royval has to keep himself honest. He can't just pressure endlessly against Bontorin because there's some heat coming back his way, so he starts slowing it down a bit. Couple of good shots, a spinning back fist, a couple of good shots again. He's starting to tune up Bontorin. He's landing more good shots. He throws a body kick. Bontorin catches it. Royval's like hopping on one leg to balance. He turns his back to sort of drop foot the leg out and get his leg out of being caught by Rogerio Bontorin, and when he does that, I think Bontorin's going to pounce on his back. Royval's going to fall to the ground. Bontorin's on his back, landing good shots. Royval tries a massive scramble to escape it, but ends up giving up his neck, and I think he's going to get choked out in the first round because he gives up his back too much, and Bontorin's an expert at taking backs and choking people out. So I'm going to go with Rogerio Bontorin, first round rear naked choke, as my underdog of the night. Moving on up the card, Jake Collier versus Chase Sherman. I'm going to go with Jake Collier here. Fuck, this is the co-main event. Greatest business year for the UFC ever. My fucking ass, dude. I hate this shit, man. Best business year for the UFC ever, and this is the co-main event we come back to in the year after. The best business year ever for the UFC. We're bigger than ever. Collier Sherman in the fucking co-main event. Either way, I think this is going to be a fight of the night. I think it's going to be a decision. And I think Collier is just going to out-hustle and outwork Chase Sherman. And just be a little bit technically better than Chase Sherman as well. Dipping under some shots, landing better combos, going to the body, mixing it up to the legs a little bit more. And I think Chase Sherman at one point is just going to be a bit of a sort of heavy bag for Jake Collier in some of the later parts of these rounds, and I think Collier's just going to out-hustle him. Chase Sherman is not as versatile as Collier. I don't think he has the same level of technique. He might be a little bit more powerful, so maybe at one point he could land a good shot on Collier that could get Collier's respect, but I do believe that Collier's going to out-hustle him, outwork him, be more technical than him in a very fun war back and forth for 3 straight rounds, and I'll see Jake Collier winning this one 29-28, 30-27 on some other scorecards. Just out-hustling Chase Sherman, landing better shots, and being a bit more technically sound in the pocket as well, whilst having a reach advantage as a shorter opponent, which is going to be very helpful for him. I think Jake Collier gets this one done, and just out-hustles Chase Sherman by landing more shots every round to a unanimous decision win. Moving on up the card, Calvin Kattar versus Giga Chikadze. I'm going to go with Giga Chikadze by decision, is what I'm going to go with here. I think at first, he's going to be obliterating Calvin Kattar in the first round. I think Kattar's going to try and be aggressive. I think he's going to get stung up by some hands from Giga Chikadze, not just some legs. I think he's going to be expecting a bunch of kicks, and Giga Chikadze's going to start punching with him early, and landing some good jabs, some good straight shots, a couple of good hooks while Kattar tries to make his reads. Then Chikadze's going to start chopping at the legs as well, doing some punches to the leg kicks to the punches, mixing it up like that. Kattar's going to have a couple of moments where he lands a couple of good jabs, a couple of good straight shots on Chikadze, but Chikadze's going to circle out, take him well. More leg kicks from Chikadze in the early rounds, couple of good body kicks from Chikadze, some good knees to the body as well as Kattar tries to close the distance, some good front kicks to the body as well as Kattar tries to close the distance again, and I think he's going to be investing early in that first round. Second round, more of the same thing. Both guys are taking shots. Kattar's starting to go to the body of Chikadze a bit, but he's not having too much success. Chikadze's hitting with like a knee to the face or something like that. Kattar starts to try and shoot a takedown. Chikadze defends, threatens a dash choke. Kattar rolls out of it, escapes, thinks to himself, right, well, I'm not going to be shooting any reckless takedowns anymore. Chikadze's starting to land some good shots, some good hands, more leg kicks, more body kicks. Same situation in round 3. Kattar goes for a takedown. Chikadze works his way back up, lands a knee on the break, circles out, lands some good punches, more leg kicks, more body kicks. Kattar's landing some decent shots back. But round 4 is where things are going to start to change a little bit. I think round 4 is going to be the most competitive round of the fight, in my opinion. Both guys landing good shots. Giga Chikadze's up 3 rounds. He's chopped at the legs. Kattar's got a red calf, swollen up. He's got a red face, swollen up. His nose is broken again. He's got red ribs from some of those big body kicks that Chikadze's been landing. Then, in the 4th round, Kattar's going to go for it. He's going to start making things happen. You're going to see a different side of Giga Chikadze. He might edge out that round still on volume, but I think Kattar's going to start landing some big shots, start tagging the chin of Chikadze. Chikadze all starts doing some kind of gloating stuff to show that, yeah, I can take the shots though. This ain't different for me. I can take the shots just like anyone else. Kattar's going to land some more of those shots. Chikadze's going to keep chopping at the legs, going to the body. Kattar might end up on top at the end of the 4th round and land a couple of big shots. Chikadze works his way back up, lands some good knees to the body in the clinch, circles out, maybe a couple of elbows in close. Kattar tries throwing some elbows back, lands a good 1-1-2 at the end of the 4th round. Round 5, Chikadze's going to realise, fuck, he's not going anywhere. I'm starting to slow down a little bit here. I've used a lot of energy trying to wear this guy down, and he's still here in my face. And I think in round 5, we're going to see a Giga Chikadze moving out the way, big time, backpedaling, front kick to the body, move, jab, keep moving, move as much as you can, clinch up when they're close to the cage, try and turn Kattar around, try and go for his own takedown on Kattar, which Kattar will defend if you know anything about Calvin Kattar's takedown defense. Then, Kattar's going to start at the second half of that 5th round, chasing down Chikadze, cutting off the cage, landing good combinations, ripping to the body a couple of times. Chikadze might show a little bit that, oh, that body shot actually did kind of do something to me. Kattar starts chopping front of the legs a little bit now, but it's too late. More shots upstairs. A big shot from Calvin Kattar. Chikadze clinches up again. Circles out. Pushes Kattar against the cage. Tries to go for a takedown. Kattar starts landing some elbows. Some punches. This forces Chikadze to give up on the takedown. He's back in the clinch. Kattar circles out of the clinch. More big shots from Kattar. He's starting to put together some combinations. Chikadze starts gloating again. He's trying to get in the ego. He starts standing his ground, trading some shots back and forth. He loses a couple of exchanges in a row. Kattar's starting to feel in himself. End of the 5th round, comes around, Kattar's chasing down Chikadze. Chikadze's moving away, sticking his tongue out at him. He's won a decision, either 3 rounds to 2 or 4 rounds to 1. However they scored a 4th round, Chikadze wins this one. Wins this one by decision, and that's how I see it going. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. We'll see if I'm correct in a couple of hours, I guess. Toodle pip. We're back. UFC cards. It's a shit card, but it's a UFC card, so I'll accept it. Goodbye.